We're going to be talking a lot about this funds freeze. It's illegal. There's a series of things that the Trump regime at this point, I call it a regime only in the sense that it seems to be purposefully doing illegal things to see where the courts are going to draw the line. Remember, the last time Donald Trump was in office, there were 270 less federal judges and justices, for that matter, who he appointed to sign off on his nonsense and his crazy-ass theories. Now, they're not necessarily his theories. They're coming from Heritage Foundation and all the Republicans. This is a Republican administration, and you could see the roots of a lot of this stuff, frankly, during the Reagan years. And it is just sort of metastasized within the party. You could see it in the Bush years, and now it is coming to its culmination in the Trump, Trump second term. And so they're doing a series of heretofore illegal acts so that they end up in front of the courts and they can expand upon the powers of the president. Because a lot of these judges have shown, that they are this is just a job interview for a promotion for them. And here's Lindsey Graham, the institutionalist, right? The maverick. At one point, law and order, rule of law. Lindsey Graham has been beating this drum for ages. I think was he involved in the Trump, the Clinton impeachment? I can't remember if I get him mixed up with Asa Hutchinson, or they both were. But they were, the outrage, rule of law. There was a time where Republicans would just completely, that's all you'd hear from them. And on Friday, I guess it was, Donald Trump fired 17 inspector generals of agencies. Incidentally, these are people, I think the vast majority of them he appointed. And then, Biden just kept him in, because the whole point of these guys is that they're supposed to maintain, essentially the integrity of the operation of these agencies. Here is Lindsey Graham responding to this firing, and it's really sort of, I think, unprecedented.
On Friday night, President Trump removed, as you know, 18 independent inspectors general. Just for folks so they know what that means, these are watchdogs in key departments, from defense to the State Department, Veterans Affairs. What do you say to those who believe that President Trump is going to replace these watchdogs with loyalists?
I'm not overly worried about that. It's not the first time people have come in and put their team in place. When you win an election, you need people in your administration that reflect your views. So I'm not really worried about that. This other stuff, the security detail, that bothers me because it sends a signal to future service. Tulsi Gabbard, I'm inclined to vote for everybody, but I want to hear her thinking about
Can you pause it for a sec? So that's fascinating. The things he's objecting to here are the removal of his other neocon buddy, John Bolton's security clearance and his Secret Service protocol. Fauci also had his Secret Service protocol removed. I doubt that's the one that Lindsey Graham is upset about. But also Brian Hook, another neocon. So neocons sticking together here. That's the thing that he has a problem with. Just to emphasize your point about Trump being a Republican and this being a Republican administration, the thing this guy's most upset about and raising any objection to is that and the Tulsi Gabbard DNI nomination, which is also pissing off the neocons.
Go back to just the beginning of this. And to be clear, the reason why the Tulsi Gabbard thing is pissing off the neocons is just that she's just not part of their club.
Right.
I think she's probably completely unqualified. She has no experience in this other than having been an intelligence, low-level intelligence officer who somehow also secured a meeting with Assad.
That's what they're upset about. They're basically upset that she didn't go through the proper channels and met with somebody who the United States was in opposition to. But everything else, her pro-torture stuff, her loving of killing of Muslim people, they would be on board with that.
They're on board with that. The Assad thing was weird. It turns out Assad, I know he he won a 95% electoral vote. And I was told by a lot of Assadists that this is proof that he's very popular. Turns out he wasn't so popular.
No,
because of all the dictating and the torture. It's weird.
And attacks on his own civilian population.
That's sort of strange. Anyways, let's hear Lindsey Graham again dismiss this firing of the inspector generals.
With loyalists.
I'm not overly worried about that. It's not the first time people have come in and put their team in place. When you win an election, you need people in your administration that reflect your views. So I'm not really worried about that. This other stuff, the security detail, that bothers me because it sends a signal to future service. Tulsi Gabbard, I'm inclined to vote for everybody, but I want to hear her thinking about Assad and Snowden, and we'll see.
But very quickly, the law says he's supposed to give you 30 days notice. He didn't do that. Do you think he violated the law?
Well, technically, yeah, but he has the authority to do it. So I'm not losing a whole lot of sleep that he wants to change the personnel out. I just want to make sure that he gets off to a good start.
Pause it. Why have laws? I mean, why have laws? Why have laws? Why have functioning government? I mean, the reason why it's written into the law that you need 30 days to do this is so that you don't have agencies that are completely flying blind in terms of who's supposed to be providing some type of internal oversight.
Technically, he broke the law, but he has the authority to do so because the Supreme Court has essentially given him absolute immunity from any act that is deemed official. So, which contradicts so many of our laws domestically. But Trump is banking on the fact, and he's probably right, that the Supreme Court will determine that any action that he decides to take, even if it violates the law, is superseded by this executive authority that they've granted him.
And let's also be clear. Not only do you have to give Congress 30 days notice of firing an inspector general, you need to provide a specific reason. You need to provide a specific reason, not and I should say case specific. And there's absolutely, even if your argument is well, we have a fundamental disagreement. There has been no fundamental disagreement. You're in office for a week. The point is that they are attacking, and I know, and we're going to end up saying this over and over again for, 2 years probably. But the whole idea is to destroy the administrative state. This is something we were saying for months and months and months leading up to the election. It was so clear. In a moment, we'll take a break, and when we get back, we'll play a clip from one of the chief of the wrecking crew of our government. But they are undermining the functioning of government, and now we're starting to see literally across the globe the implications of this. Literally across the globe, from cancer patients to HIV patients to, checking on stores of munitions and bombs. I mean, across the board, to the unreported massive America's greatest outbreak of TB and whatever it is, 60 years, 70 years. Unreported, short of a couple of magazines because the federal government can't report on it. But there's a whole point as to him breaking the law and Lindsey Graham making it absolutely clear he doesn't care. We're just going to pick and choose the stuff that we think is important. There's no law, incidentally, that we need to have Secret Service people protect John Bolton because he's an a-hole. Mm-hmm. We'll see. But even the way, what's her face here?
Welker.
Kristen Welker, he let them go. No, he fired them illegally. This is basic stuff. Now, Lindsey Graham may say it was technically illegal. I don't really care. But our press probably shouldn't make the decision that we shouldn't care before she says that.
Right.
by saying they let them go is sort of like, hey, I know it's like the way I work on the phones. I know you got a bunch of stuff to get to, so I'm going to let you go now. There's no element of our society that is up to this moment right now. And let them go. Extended lunch break.
What are you going to do?
Oh, it doesn't bother you? Oh, okay. Okay, good. Let's move on to something else, shall we? How about, why doesn't the fact that he's breaking the law bother you? Are we allowed to cut corners like that now? Is that all right?
Again, Richard Beck, and writing about the Iraq War and the War on Terror and how we're living in the wake of that and the lawlessness and the consequences of really letting the Bush administration commit one of the greatest crimes in the history of our country. This is the reality that we've been.
I mean, I would extend that to pardons for Watergate, to pardons for Iran-Contra, to the savings and loan scandal in '87, to we just keep seeing these cascading sort of events where we've never held accountability.
The Supreme Court basically stopping the count in 2000.
On and on. On and on. And this is where it ultimately leads. You know, these things erode. It takes time. To be fair, it's been 50 years. So, first couple words from our sponsors, and then back to the
dystopia.
The play-by-play of the degradation of our society. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.